And welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined this week by RJ from RJ's new channel.
Yeah, RJ got a channel. 2 minutes, points, and miles, where I do the opposite of this podcast and am purposely brief. So a lot of it's going to be satire and humor. I will occasionally explain things. Like, I think I'm going to do like the status tiers of different things like Delta and United and AA and stuff. So that will probably be actually more like educational. There will be some jokes in there, but I make sarcastic one-liners on the live and on this podcast all the time. So I thought, what if I condense that into a 2-minute video? So I have a channel. If you go to stackyourpoints.com, you can find that channel.
There you go. Also joined by Alani, who has been dealing with weird charges and also Vegas being the place to be to burn your credits. Lonnie, how are you this week?
I've had a lot going on in these last 3 weeks. It feels good to be home after all these flights and all these hotel beds, literally for 3 weeks. Nothing's better than just clicking your heels together and just being and sleeping in your own bed. And you know what? My shower might not have the same water pressure as some of those hotels, but my shower is better than those hotels. It's just good to be home. But yeah, Vegas got ridiculously expensive. Spent $25 buying nothing but a chai tea or a chai latte for those that chai tea is TT. And a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich cost $26.
Oh my God.
Did they gild it in gold?
No. Vegas is stupid expensive. But to your point, I knocked out so many credit card credits that I would normally never get. The ones that I usually just let go in the file 13. No, knocked them all out in a couple of days in Vegas. It was awesome. To the point where the back half of the year, I should just book a quick cheap trip to Vegas. Cheap as in the cost of the flight, not.
I would do a $25 bacon, egg, and cheese.
I'm going to be at Waldorf Astoria or Conrad Resorts World, so I'm not talking about cheap and bougie. Hey, RJ, how you been? I'm still me in 2026. But no, just burn credits. I hadn't even thought about it. Chase dining credit. Matt, I know how you feel about it. Burned all $150 in a couple of days, where I can never use it here at home. No, it was great.
There you go. $25 for bacon, egg, and cheese. Just no.
And a
absolutely
tea.
Not. And a tea.
And a tea.
I shudder to think what a chopped cheese would cost you.
But so my Vegas trip was a work trip. So obviously I didn't feel so bad because it's going to be fully expensed and reimbursed. But yeah, if it was out of my own pocket, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, can I get a chopped cheese? Yeah, that's going to be your firstborn and $300. Excuse me? Yeah. We're also joined by Craig. Craig, life has been lifing for you. How is life now?
Life now? Better. Fun fact I'm going to let you in on. I have a birthday curse. And you can say, oh, that's psychosomatic. You don't have a birthday curse. And I would agree with you 100% if they were situations that I could control. However, I am currently, how old am I? I am 18 and 14 on birthdays, bad versus good. So we were close to a 500. You're not looking good right now. You're going to need a few positive years to even it back out. But 364 or on a leap year, 65 days of the year, my luck is pretty good. The universe has to keep me humble somehow. And it chooses to do that either on my birthday or the week before.
So my family,
you got that black blood in your family.
My family will not do trips for our birthdays anymore because the last 3 birthday trips we have booked have somehow either gone wrong or we have had to cancel because of extenuating circumstances.
I feel that. Do you want to hear some highlights or lowlights? Some of my favorites?
Please.
This year, covered in sewage. Yeah.
Moving on.
Early lead for a title, covered in sewage.
Parents, hey, we're getting divorced. Looks at them at 7-year-old Craig. It's my birthday. We're going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Ain't no way the influence for Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be the answer to it's my birthday after we're getting a divorce. Actually, lawyers do get expensive.
Do you know what the worst part about all of that was? They bought sausage pizza, and I freaking hate sausage pizza. I'm a pepperoni guy. You rat fakes. How dare you?
They were too concerned about the lawyer? Lawyer? I don't know.
Awfully bold of you to assume my parents can afford a lawyer.
You know what?
Divorce via LegalZoom?
Eh. It's been 25 years. They'll figure it out.
It's fair. It's fair.
We're all having fun. Don't worry, guys. I am not sensitive about this. We're having a good time.
Now I just feel awkward, and I'm the one who came up with the show title. I'm not going to crossbow my father.
That was a great title. That might be one of our highest clicked episodes, too.
I love that.
All right. Much as I want to sometimes. Anyway, let's move over to our topics because there wasn't any major
Real
news around
quick,
it.
Matt. So one of the other things, now not CSR related, that I was doing while my co-hosts were talking, just to make sure I wasn't crazy, looked up a couple of different places. Now I'm only going to list the ones that are under 90K with Hilton for a Conrad or a Waldorf Astoria. But we can go to Orlando Waldorf, 90K. I just pulled up Conrad Abu Dhabi at the Etihad Tower, 59,000. That's under 90K, y'all. They are still out. Maybe not, like I said, maybe not the places you want to go. But I'm looking up all the places I want to go, and they are somewhere between now 59,000, which means I got to rebook this room, and at most like 110. So yes, some fluctuations, but still relatively on the lower end or the normal end, if you will. So take everything you hear on this credit card YouTube with a grain of salt. Do your own research. I'm not going to look up Maldives because I have absolutely zero interest in going in there. So when people talk about Bora Bora and Maldives, man, show me your boarding pass first. Moving on.
Just go to Bali.
Been there.
I got you.
All right, fine.
I will look it up though, but I've already been there.
All right, that's fair. We're going to skip over news. We do have what will be big news on Wednesday. RJ and I will probably talk about it on the live, much to RJ's chagrin, but we're going to have to talk about it when it becomes real. I'm going to be putting something out on Wednesday. I don't know what it is. I did a final questions that I would like to see the answers for Wednesday on my channel, so check that out.
Maybe
so let's
we
jump over
live
to
Wednesday, Matt. Maybe depending on how the news breaks, we live on Wednesday and Thursday. Who knows? Maybe we go wild.
Ooh, fair enough. We'll see what happens there. No promises, but maybe. So with that, let's jump over to our topics, and we'll have RJ. How about you kick us off with topics? Oh, speaking of,
Conrad Bally's 50K, by the way.
Got it. Nice.
All right, off to RJ.
It is currently, it's now the 13th of January. How many credits have you burnt, and how many credits on all of your cards do you have like concrete, this is going to this already set up? I'm running about 5, 6, something like that. I burnt both of my Delta companion passes, Saks, Lululemon, a couple other smaller ones, all done. So Matt, you never get to go first, so I'm going to go to you first.
So on the Sapphire Reserve, I've already burned $300 in credits in calendar year 26. It would be a total of 600 if we go back to when I first got access to the credits. So I've burned 150 on dining. I've burned 150 on StubHub. Not StubHub. Yes, StubHub. I plan on using, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I do plan on using the full 750 between the edit and the $250 Select Hotels credit through Chase Travel. Don't know how or when, but I do plan on doing those credits. My travel credit doesn't renew until May, but I will burn the full 300. I will use the full $300 travel credit. whether it's going to be a hotel booking or it's going to be something else, I will use that full credit. For the month, I've also used $15 on my DoorDash. I haven't used my Lyft credit yet for the month, and I activated Apple TV and Apple Music back when I had the opportunity to. So full told, I'm at, for the calendar year, 315, but I do plan on burning another 750 at least.
Nice. Craig, I know you're downgrading every card, but credit-wise, how many have you burnt? I know your 2026 has been tumultuous, to say the least.
To
So
say the
credits
least.
credits might not have been in front of mind, but have you burnt any yet?
Actually, I've burnt quite a few. So I'm counting my Hilton Aspire. I had them pre-charge the card for a resort property on December 30th, so I'm still counting that. And then I realized that I will use the other $200 credit for a resort when we go in the next few weeks. So that's $400 right there. The United travel credit on the Aspire, that's an additional $50. All my monthly credits on the Gold, Saks, Lululemon, Resi will get used. I've already used my Uber One, CSR dining credit, as well as the $500 on Edit. There are some really nice, boutique-ish IHGs on the Edit that I was not aware were properties. So IHG's catalog is a lot more robust than I was thinking. And so using the Edit has been really nice for me there. And I plan on using the dining credit while we're there in Milwaukee and in Chicago. So that should be fun. Overall, I'm probably a couple $1,000s into already used credits. And then one that is just I load my Starbucks app is the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, $25 every month. I know on the first, just load that bad boy up, and that is my Starbucks for the month.
Very nice.
So,
For Starbucks to Dunkin', interesting.
So there is a Starbucks 2 blocks from daycare that I go and pick up either a hot tea. I'm trying not to drink as much coffee, but like a hot tea or something. And then there is a Dunkin' right by our gym. So I will pick up like something after going to the gym or right before, just like a little, oh my God, I'm dying and I need calories.
They've got these new protein drinks that I'm curious about.
They're not bad, not great. They're very astringent. So it's a very kind of like weird mouthfeel to take with coffee.
All right, that kind of kills it for me. Fair.
So I have
It could have just been the
discovered
drink that I got.
fair. I have discovered that if you get a gift card through Square for a Resi restaurant, you can actually combine them. Because what I hate is going into a restaurant and handing them like 5 gift cards or handing them 3 credit cards. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to the server. I don't. And there's a place that my parents really like that they go to before hockey games. And I can make an Apple like wallet card of this gift card, and I can actually send it to my mother. And it's just a little QR code that they can use at the place they like to go. So I can just use that for my Resi credits, which is great because it's a place we already go. It's one thing instead of handing them multiple gift cards. Like, it's perfect. I am so happy. So I actually get to use Resi now, which is very nice because I have a lot of Resi. I have $140 on the first month of every quarter and then $40 the other months. So I have some Resi to burn through. Lonnie, credits so far in 2026. Where are you at?
Hold on. I'm almost there.
Real quick, Ragrex in the chat mentioned if you do your own taxes, reminder, check your offers for the popular tax filing software. Delta Reserve had a 30% offer off of one of them.
Yeah, I think all of my cards have different offers for different software. So it's going to be like,
Every
which
single
offer
one.
is the best? Sadly, you cannot file your taxes multiple times, guys. Don't try that for your offer reward.
Can't split payment either, which also annoys me. All
Let's see
right.
what I can do through Rove.
What I have used so far. Here we go. Amex airline credit on my Platinum, the 200, has been rolled into Travel Bank already. Same thing for my Hilton Aspire Air credit for Q1. That $50 has also been rolled into my United Travel Bank already. I've used my $7 Dunkin' credit on my Gold card, my $50 Saks credit on my Platinum card, my $75 credit on my Lulu card, $150 dining credit on my CSR in Vegas last week, including a Lyft ride where I got my $10 credit, and another Lyft ride on my Purple United Quest card for $8 credit. I have used $9 of my $25 Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, buying my son some Wetzel's pretzels over the weekend. And I've gotten a total of $10 from my United cards buying food on United flights. I've gotten my $10 from my CSR for my Peloton, $25 on my YouTube TV from my Amex Platinum, 100% of whatever Calm costs, because CSR did that again for 2026. So that's that whatever that costs is 100% credit. $10 and $10 for my Apple TV and Apple Music on my CSR, $7 for my Disney Plus on my Amex Blue Cash, my FNC 200 and my $200 on the Aspire technically have not been used yet, but that is for a trip that I am booking for May. So those will be burnt. And my other FHR, not my FHR, my FNC, my free night certificates, plus I'm going to stack that with my $200 Amex Aspire because I'll be staying at a Hilton Resort. It's for that trip in May. But my FHR and my edit credits, I actually have not booked those yet, but those will either be for late 2020 or for trips for late 2026 or early 2027.
I have
Thanks,
to tell
RJ.
you.
Thanks for telling me that I have a problem.
Because you brought up pretzels, I had a dream the other night that our first sponsor was pretzels because of how often we talk about getting pretzels in airports. So if any pretzel companies would like to sponsor us, we're game.
Especially if you make a gluten-free pretzel.
Yes.
Hey, my son and I will sit and just chill with some pretzel nuggets, lightly salted.
Snyder's of Hanover, please.
I like the cinnamon
dots at
sugar.
this point.
Too much sugar. I'm too old for that now.
Yeah, I love a cinnamon sugar. I can't help it.
I love it, but it's too much sugar. I'm too old for all that sugar now.
I miss Wetzel's pretzels.
But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. And may the credits be bountiful in 2026.
May the credits be ever in your favor.
I like it.
But yeah, thanks, RJ. I realize I have a problem writing all that down, and I probably skipped a couple.
I have a spreadsheet this year, and it's been so helpful to just have the spreadsheet. It's been great.
Oh yeah, Rygrex in there. I didn't even think in my DoorDash credit, my Uber One. I didn't even think of those. So he's also right with those as well. Add those to the list.
Yep. Oh, my partner hasn't burned her CSR credits yet on that.
Matt, back to you.
This is why we do what we do, folks.
Yep. And again, set up all the DoorDash accounts you want. That's all I'm going to say there. If you want more, check out my channel. Craig, your topic this week.
Yeah. We have had a very interesting kickoff to 2026. As I mentioned a few moments ago, I have had a very interesting reason and rationale as to why I have not been present on the podcast, but also as to why I have not uploaded a video. Went to Costa Rica. It was absolutely fantastic for Christmas. We were there for quite some time. We went to a Ritz-Carlton Reserve, best hotel stay I've ever had. Sensational. We did a Verbo with my wife and her family down there. It was great. Went to Miami, did the Ritz-Carlton South Beach. And as we were on our lovely way to the Miami International Airport, and up until this point, truly one of my favorite trips of all time, we got jacked in Miami. And just the absolute scariest opportunity to be involved in anything. But that does not take away that it was one of my favorite trips, if not my favorite trip in 2025. Keeping that in mind, that trip was almost 95% paid for in points. What were your favorite trip, thing, or experience you took in 2025 thanks to points and miles? We will go with Lonnie.
Come on, man. I was not prepared.
Then we'll go with RJ.
Thanks.
So I was supposed to go to Hawaii last year. I was on a plane to go to Hawaii when the trip broke down. There was a plane issue, and then there was a ground stoppage, and then it all fell apart. Which is another reason why my family has decided no birthday trips anymore. So I got home. I was supposed to go with my parents. We all got home. And I still wanted to do something because I had a bunch of PTO. So I'm like, I still want to go on a trip. So I decided I wanted to go to the San Diego Zoo. And I live in New York, and San Diego is across the country. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the San Diego Zoo. So there is the Bronx Zoo in New York, but there's not a ton of very reputable zoos in New York. And I won't go to the roadside zoos. So I have not been to a zoo in a long time. So I decided to treat myself. And I had miles with Delta that I used for the flight. I had points with Hilton that I used for the stay. And then I paid for everything else, which is mostly just food and the zoo and Uber to get to said zoo. So I flew myself out to San Diego for my birthday, the day after my birthday. And I stayed for 4 very nice days in San Diego, where I proceeded to go to the zoo and the safari park and nowhere else. I didn't leave my hotel room unless I was going to see a wild animal. And after the year of 2025 that I had, it was lovely. Like, it was great. Now, it took me a day and a half to get from New York to California, whole separate issue. I had 3 plane delays that caused me to have to rebook 3 times. So that was fun. I got to be in Comfort Plus for the first time in about 7 years. Reminded me about why I book first class and fly first class. But yeah, but once I got to San Diego, it was great. But yeah, I had a great time. I needed to go on a vacation by myself where I only had to do the things I wanted to do and did not have to do a single other thing that I did not want to have to do. Which I did get hit up for my first ever Hilton vacation. There was a guy in a suit. You're a Hilton Honors member, right? Like, he was saying that to every single person. I think he gave me 2,000 points for just talking to him. And then tried to get me to buy the Vegas package. And he's like, you're not going to go to this. You're going to go to it, but you're just going to say no. But they'll talk for like an hour and you're just going to say no a bunch and then you get points. And I'm like, sir, I know what you're talking about. I have no interest in doing this right now. But yeah, so I had a lovely time. It was not the vacation I planned. It was at least the right coast of the country. So I was on the correct ocean. I was in California instead of the East Coast. But yeah, it was a very nice trip. It was not the trip I was expecting to be on those days, but it was great. It was, again, I book cash for a lot of things. Occasionally I will use points. A moment like that, it is very nice to just pull out a bunch of points and go do the thing.
So I'm a terrible co-host. I had no idea that your trip got canceled. We are going to need some additional debriefing after this.
Yes.
But thank you for that, RJ. I appreciate it. Matt?
So the biggest thing the points and miles got me in 2025, I got to experience Wrigley Field for the first time. Burn some points to fly out on JetBlue. Burn some points at Hyatt to make the stay a little bit easier. I picked a terrible for getting to Wrigley, but not bad for the airport Hyatt, where like we really weren't that far away from the airport. So that was cool. Again, Wrigley is one of those ballparks that you just have to experience at least once. I still have to go up to Boston and do Fenway at some point. After that, it'll be like PNC would probably be the next one off my list, going out to Pittsburgh, because PNC is what Citi Field was modeled after. Citi Field is basically PNC plus Ebbets Field was the way that they tried to do it. So yeah, anyway, so that was probably the coolest experience I had on points. Getting used, burn some points on like mini staycations, mini getaways for my family, get mini getaways from my youngling, or my youngling wants to go to a pool, and finding pool access is not easy in most places. So where's the best place to go to a pool? Hotel. Like most hotels will have a pool. Book the hotel for a night, whether it's cash or whether it's some points. It will do that and generate points if I need to. Yeah, biggest one was definitely Chicago, Wrigley. I thought about going down to Puerto Rico, but chose not to at the end. Reasons. But yeah, I'm going to go with Chicago and turn it back to you.
2 people on this podcast are very happy that you chose Chicago. Speaking of that, one of those people, Lonnie. How about you?
All right, so this was actually a pretty hard one. And the reason why I say that is because I had a lot of good trips. And it's not necessarily the trips themselves, it's the memories that I make while on them. I know that sounds cheesy, but I'm being really real right now, especially when I have a toddler where he's experiencing so much stuff of the world for the first time from in his lens. Places I've probably been before, but for the first time, places he's never been before. And to see him experience it. So that's what I mean by these types of experiences or memories. My holiday trip that I just took before literally my 10 hours home before I had to go to Vegas, that was a really good one. That was Cancun, Belize, Mexico, whatnot. Yeah, I got a couple, so just give me a second. I'm not going to go every single trip that I took. I could always say Barcelona. I'm going to leave that one off because I'm actually, for the first time, I'm not going to Barcelona as of yet in 2026. I'm going to go to Tokyo instead. I'm actually going to go somewhere else, even though Barcelona is probably one of my favorite cities in the world.
You mean Barcelona?
No, Barcelona. So I have, ironically enough, and I know this is going to sound cliche because I keep bringing this up, but I have 2 separate Disney trips for 2 separate reasons. The first one I'm going to say is the most recent one that was just a couple of months ago. And that was at Disneyland in Southern California. If you're a member of my channel, you would have heard me talk about my JW Marriott room that I got for 79 cents. This is beyond a room with a room in it, RJ. They gave me a whole separate apartment attached to it. It was pretty nice. Cost me 79 cents is all I paid after checkout. So all that was points, miles, et cetera, et cetera. But the reason why is because my son was finally tall enough for the next set of rides. So he was tall enough to get on Lightning McQueen's Radiator Springs Racers. He's a huge Lightning McQueen fan. So for him to be able to get on that and finally be able to ride that and see all his favorite characters in his world live and in color was just the absolute best. I think we rode it like 2 or 3 times that week. And yeah, we had to pay for it. We paid for the Lightning Lane because we're not going to wait 2 hours in a line with the 3-year-old. Paying $60 was worth it. So we paid for it. And I would do it again because of that. The other one was a trip I took with my best friend from grad school and his family. So all 3 of us, his family of 4, my family of 3, so total of 7 of us. One, just because I got to spend time with one of my longest friends in life, but he and his family had never been to Disney World in Orlando. So I got to not just see Disney World with my son, but also my fictitious niece and nephew from him. And to travel with my best friend again. But the thing is we actually we're at Animal Kingdom, and we just so happened to luck out. Hold on, I'm going to pull up this video real quick. We just so happened to luck out that we were riding the safaris, and we got stopped by giraffes. So they were following our car. They were walking right up on it. There was like 3 or 4 of them. There were like 2 on the sides, one walking right behind us. And they got so up close and personal, we could actually touch them. And we didn't, but you could have. That's how close they were. And it's one of those like magic moments. But once again, looking at it from a toddler, at that time, my son was still 2 years old. So looking at it from a toddler's lens, he knows what a giraffe is, but he's never actually seen a giraffe before. So his first experience with a giraffe is literally like 3 feet away from him. It's one of those types of things. But to bring it all back around, Craig, especially Orlando, is literally one of the most expensive vacations on this planet that we call Earth. So to not take any extra money out of my pocket for 7 people, 3 kids and 4 adults, that's it. That you gotta accept that. I don't care if you're a Disney fan or not. I'm not necessarily a Disney fan. I need to take my kid somewhere where he can have a vacation too. And there's not a lot of those places in this planet. He's not going to walk around the streets of Barcelona, sadly. But yeah, I think that's one of the best redemptions that we ended up getting because, like I said, it was ridiculously expensive and it cost us extra nothing out of our bank account.
No, absolutely. So to your point, similarly, my 2025 was a toss-up between Disney and Costa Rica for 2 very different reasons. My wife does her Disney runs or her marathons and half marathons. And so she did the Dopey Challenge where she did a half, a full, and a 5K and a 10K all in the weekend. I'm not running that much. I'm not doing that. But seeing how happy she was, right? That was part of that big experience. And my son being able to recognize, oh my God, it's Pluto or Goofy or it's Mickey, and just getting to take pictures. Like, it's the little things of, oh, wow, this is an experience for you. And I see how your eyes light up. But the reason I think Costa Rica was the best trip for me, I've been a lot of places, but the 2 places I think for very different reasons are the most pure nature beauty that I've ever seen are the road trip that we took to the national parks in Utah and Costa Rica. And that Ritz-Carlton that we were at, quite literally, like just randomly outside first of all, we got an upgrade, which is really nice, right? They were like, oh my God, you have ambassador status. Here's a room inside of a room inside of a room. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I will upload pictures now that I'm not traumatized from being carjacked, but we'll get to that in a second. There's monkeys on our porch, like just random monkeys. So we went to Costa Rica and we got a Verbo, like rented a house. And so as part of that, we needed some time. I knew I was going to need a little bit of space from my in-laws. Love them dearly. My wife's grandmother is a human that is on this planet.
Let that sink in.
She is a human that is on this planet. And I knew that I could not spend a full 7 days around her. We decided, let's build in 2 days where we will have some opportunity to not be around you. I know she will never see this podcast, so I'm okay saying that. Genuinely and truly, like being able to wake up and my son go, Daddy, first of all, he slapped me awake. That was fun. But these 3-year-olds are not gentle. Monkeys. And I was like, there's no monkey. Oh my God, that's a monkey. Awesome. Or like randomly seeing what we assume is that a big cat or is that just a man in a jaguar suit? I don't know, but I love it. Right. And so seeing nature truly in its purest form, because it's like a White Lotus thing where you just go off into a random jungle and you can see nothing but clouds, forest, and ocean. And up until that point, fantastic. We come back, we go to Miami, we go to the Ritz, everybody gets their own room, so no one has to deal with anyone else. No upgrade there, but you know what? I'm not expecting to get upgraded in Miami. Is what it is. We got 2 Uber Blacks. Sent my in-laws and my wife's grandmother in one, and we were in the other. And we said, "Hey, we will meet you at the airport." Do you know how lame it is to get carjacked by 2 guys with machetes? Not even force multipliers. This is going on YouTube, so I'm not going to say that 3-letter word. But yeah, not even force multipliers. Just random dudes with long, unguarded sabers. What the heck? And I'm like, we're in Florida. You mean to tell me that you aren't a crazy Florida man driver, Mr. Uber Black person?
I need you to rephrase that.
You found the one New York transplant who happened to be driving Uber that
The
wasn't.
one New York transplant. Actually, he's from Connecticut.
So much worse. So much worse.
Is it? I don't know.
No, because a New Yorker would have seen a machete and just hit the gas.
Okay, that's the other thing. I say drive. Oh, what's happening? Drive.
That's because we got that Chicago in us. When we hear the pop, we hit the gas.
Lonnie,
You duck down and you hit the gas.
There's a lot of other expletives that came out of my mouth that I'm not going to use.
We're gonna save this for the after show that will be cut and put somewhere else. We're gonna wrap it
Absolutely.
up for now.
Yep.
But
The reason that it's some of my best memory, I got to learn something new about a system, an ecosystem that I'm heavily in. American made us feel so special after they learned about like what happened, because they were like, hey, they reached out and they said, we noticed that you weren't on your flight, Mr. Carter. What's going on? Is everything okay? Explain the situation. I didn't know that AA had, what is it called? It's their luxury 5-star service. So you get like a private entrance to the Miami airport. They drive you around back tarmac side. They take you to the flagship lounges. And I was just like, oh, is this what it's like to be wealthy? I'll never get this again, but this is sensational. So it's nice knowing that status came in clutch there. And also, it felt nice to know that at a certain point my business meant something. These places are still not my AA is still not my friend. American Airlines is still not my friend. But American Airlines knows, well, they don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be flying nearly as much this year. But they go, hey, you're in the top 10% of flyers in the country. We should probably treat you nicely. So it just felt really good to get some of that. And so I think the negativity is sandwiched in between 2 really positive experiences. And that's it for me. I'm going to pass it back to our host, Matt.
Sure. Craig, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go to my topic and then we'll have Lonnie close out just to bring things back up on the upswing. But look, companies, be they credit card companies, hotels, airlines, what have you in this business, they're not our friends. And they operate on their margins. They operate, if they're publicly traded companies, they operate based on the shareholders and providing shareholder value. When a company goes against being a good citizen or a good corporate citizen, or a company that you're loyal to crosses a line to you, how do you handle it? This kind of in light of recent events with Hilton, for me, I'm definitely having some, I don't necessarily want to say issues with Hilton, but I'm not feeling great about Hilton in light of recent events. And not to take the podcast to a political place, I'm absolutely not going to do that. But like your values, when your values feel a little bit out of whack compared to what a company will do, how do you handle it? Especially if it's one that you've put some time in, have loyalty with, have status with, have spent good money with. How do you handle it? I'll throw to Craig first.
So I need to first assess Is this a issue that I do not enjoy with your program, or is this a moral dilemma for me? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I will not mention, and I'll give two different examples. I will not mention name, but there is a large university within Philadelphia that is very old that randomly I used to be employed with. Turns out they hid bodies of children in the museum from an 80s bombing. Instantaneously, next day, I'm on the search portal, right? For a new job. There are certain things that I just will not go against for my moral compass. Now, on the flip side of things, Hilton devalued, and I want to go to every single Waldorf Astoria in the world. Do I still want to go to every single Waldorf Astoria in the world? Absolutely. Am I going to be pissy about it? Yeah, right. But Hilton did nothing wrong that I, as someone that is also a cog in a machine to make a business more money, would not do, right? I think that's the thing. Like, Hilton still needs to be profitable as a business. And although we may not enjoy our.
Have you seen the Minnesota thing? I think that's more what Matt is talking about versus the devaluations.
Oh my God, wait a minute. Is that what the. Are we pausing here for a moment?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
cut. I think
I'm
Matt's
sorry.
talking more about Minnesota than he is about the general devaluations. So I don't want your answer to veer that way.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. Can we rewind that?
Yep.
And I'll give.
Matt, do you want to throw him the question again and I'll splice just to.
Sure.
I think that's going to be a better way for him to answer. I
Totally
could
did
see
not
where you were
realize that's the
going,
direction.
and I was like, I want a timeout here.
Sure. So, Craig, I'll throw to you. When a company goes past potentially your own moral boundaries, how do you handle it, or how do you equivocate to yourself if it's a company that you want to continue staying with?
Absolutely. So I think it depends on where within my moral compass they have crossed. There is a company with a big primary colored bullseye as their logo that I have not shopped at in over a year. And if you are online, you will know how to boycott that place or what place I am talking about, because it is a direct competitor to a large blue business that the American Express gives Walmart Plus 2 for free. I'm of the mindset that no one is entitled to my money. No one, no company, no person, nothing, right? And if you are against my, and let me say this, there's no right or wrong way to say from your moral compass. Your morals are your morals and your decision is such. And so feel free to insert blank your answer accordingly. But for me, if you are against me from my moral compass or against my code of ethics, I have absolutely zero problem cutting you out. Now, I want to say there are certain stipulations there that are going to be harder for other people than others. I work for a company that we have staff that their closest grocery store is a singular store within 75 miles of any direction. For me to say that, hey, you need to boycott that store because they said or did something against your moral compass, it's a little bit difficult, right? But within my own confines, I'm okay with not spending money or e-commerce with any business. And for me, that is a luxury that I'm allotted, right? I want to be like very clear about that. But for me, from my take, any business that crosses any moral standpoint or line that I have within myself is not entitled to my resources. They're not entitled to my interactions, even within. I won't even mention someone to or suggest it, right? Like, I will willingly go and spend more money in a different location to ensure that I am. And I want to say this: there's no ethical consumerism under capitalism, right? That is just a thing. But there is a litmus test that you must openly be publicly slightly less evil and debaucherous than what I would expect from cartoon villains. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. And yeah, capitalism has it's got its pluses, but its minuses sometimes.
That's got a lot of minuses, especially for a lot of people across the world. Just saying that.
Yeah. RJ, your thoughts there?
My thought is a long, deep sigh. You and I have talked a little bit about this offline. I don't know how I feel about what Hilton did, in the sense of I don't know what I'm going to do in relation to what they did. You guys can go find the exact things we're talking about. I don't think we're going to rehash it here, but it is difficult in the space we're in because we don't always have full choice about what we're doing. And sometimes that choice is because we lock ourselves in, right? Hilton and IHG are my primary partners when it comes to hotels. Delta is my primary airline. So I've locked myself into those choices because when I travel, that has been the most conducive to me. So it becomes more difficult when Hilton does something that I have a problem with to move away from them. Now, all of my trips in 2026 happen to be at IHG properties because my parents really like intercontinentals. I have discovered that. It's amazing when you give people some bougie, they discover they're in fact a bougie. And yet here we are. So I haven't booked any Hiltons directly because of other travel plans. And I am finding it hard to find reasons to book a Hilton right now. Now, am I going to I didn't call and cancel my cards and eat the claw back from Amex, right? Like I didn't do that. So I have lines, right? And it's not always comfortable when we realize that we're not going to take the action that in a perfect world or in a different world we might, right? That is uncomfortable. Enterprise is one of the biggest government contractors when it comes to renting SUVs. I still have an Enterprise rental in about a month and a half that I'm not canceling, right? There's a lot of choices in travel, but there's not infinite choices. And there's not necessarily a difference between a hotel that rents to people I may or may not want them to rent to and a hotel that doesn't rent to them and then corporate says yes you will and you're being kicked out of the program because you didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I stand, and it's not because I don't have strong feelings about different things that are going on in the world. I don't know how to travel and do the things I want to do without also being a participant in things that I don't like. I have a smartphone. There were people probably almost certainly harmed in the making of that smartphone between mining of the precious metals that go into that phone to the factory conditions to everything else, right? As Craig said, no ethical consumption under capitalism. But I'm probably going to buy the Apple Fold next year, right? That's the hard part is there are places I won't shop. But the line between a place I won't shop and a place I will is very thin and ultimately up to my discretion and ultimately up to whatever line I'm going to draw that particular moment, right? I try to be principled. I try to do what I believe. I try not to be a hypocrite. But ultimately, most of us are more hypocrites than we want to believe we are. Because that's just the culture and the life we're in. It just ultimately, I am surrounded by like creature comforts. Like I am surrounded by consumerism as an American. That's just the life we're in. I try to be thoughtful. I try to do what I feel like I should. But ultimately, getting on a plane isn't better for the environment. I drive an EV, but I still have to get the energy from that EV from somewhere. Like I still use equipment on my property that uses oil. Like, I'm still participating in things I don't like. Are they better or worse because I try? I hope so. I hope trying does something other than just making me feel better. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it's working. I don't know if my intentions matter. They matter to me, but maybe that's just mollifying myself so I'm trying to dismantle a system I can't do anything about. I don't know. I don't know what to do when the companies that we rely on to do the points and miles that are so fundamental to this community break. I don't know. I don't. Like, anybody who cancels their Hilton card, I understand. I do. And if you've had the card for 5 years and there's no clawback and you have other options, I get it, right? I get why you do it. I get the million other ways and the places you could say. I am not criticizing you for doing it at all. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if 1.1% of people getting rid of the cards actually matters to Hilton, because they know that people are going to pick up those cards because of what they saw. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this. I wish I did. I wish that there was a roadmap that you could follow to reduce harm in a game that we all very much enjoy playing. But every time we get on an airplane, we're releasing carbon into the air, whether we want to or not. Every time we get into an Uber, every time we go out to eat versus whatever, we're not like benefiting things. It's not great. We're all doing these things from a carbon perspective, but you know what? I'm still getting on a plane in a month and a half, and I'm still getting on a train the month after that, and I'm getting on another plane the month after that. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hypocrite. I love this question and I have no answers for it. Because ultimately, the 4 major hotels and the 3 major domestic airlines can basically do what we want, and it's just us going to another major airline or another major hotel brand.
Yeah.
And yeah, if we want to do all independent hotels that are personally verified, but we can't know what the owner thinks, right? Unless we know who the owner is. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Nope, that's fair. Thanks, RJ. Lonnie?
I'm not going to get into the current events only because I just don't like that particular space. Not that I don't have an opinion on it. It's just
Sure.
don't want to get into that. I personally don't want to get into that space. But to answer your question as a whole, there's always some line of where each individual has on, if X were to be crossed, how would that affect you?
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, yes, they are companies that you agree with or you're fans of or you're loyal to some capacity. I can go as far back to my high school days with Tommy Hilfiger, and then a statement that he made that basically, I would say, yes, they're still around, but they're not selling like they used to because of a statement that he made. In the era of prime hip hop, when every single rap song talked about Ace of Spades, and Ace of Spades made a statement, Jay-Z actually called him out and said, we ain't buying that no more. Now Cristal is the liquor of choice when it comes to a rap song. So there's always some type of line. I'm using those as examples. I actually don't drink alcohol, so I'm not using that as a personal thing. But at the same time, you have to look at it from both sides. What RJ said, especially in tight political or tight current events that are like around situations that are currently happening, you have to understand that a lot of these decisions are being made from a business lens. And some companies have to protect their business. And then some companies have to protect their employees, and some companies need to protect their consumers. As I had mentioned recently, I switched companies last year, and just my former CEO, which I'm not proud of whatsoever, stood behind our current president at his inauguration. And I absolutely hated seeing him there. Absolutely hated seeing him there. That's not the reason why I left that company. At the same time, but it was like, man, and one, he talks internally to his employees, so I know his stance, his political stance, but he still showed up anyway. You can call it kiss the ring if you want to. But when I look at it, how he's going to protect the business on all the stuff that my former company has control over and could be instantly be messed up, all because one dude has a little man syndrome. You know what? The stock that I earned from said company went up. So at what point do there's somewhere where as a line of, I don't agree with this, but also I'm richer. I've made more money because of the decisions that he made as a CEO, if I agree with them or not. And so that line, you have to take every single step of the way. There are certain companies that have crossed lines that me personally will never, ever trust or touch, or again, Chick-fil-A being one of them. And it's not because I'm Black, and it's because it's chicken, believe it or not. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that one out there. But the simple fact of them going out of the way and their stance against the LGBTQ and all the other letter community, I refuse to go to a Chick-fil-A, period. It ain't worth it. That Polynesian sauce, as delicious as it is, ain't worth it. I can't support that, so they can't have my money. And I'll say that openly. I'm not part of that community. I know people that are. But the simple fact that you're going out of your way to make someone else's life worse, I don't need to give you a cent out of my pocket. And that's where my stance is. Just on that. There's other companies. I'm not going to go into the entire list, but that's one of the biggest ones because I know so many people that like Chick-fil-A. I won't touch this stuff. Keep on walking. You're not ever going to get a dime out of me. So it just depends, really. And to even go back to our current president, if you're on LinkedIn, go follow Scott Kirby, CEO of United. He's been to the White House a couple of times already since our current president has gotten to office. I'm still flying United, even though I might not agree with him. I don't know where he stands. I don't know Scott Kirby personally whatsoever. I don't know his political stance. But at the same time, the man's doing his business. I'm not losing anything out. But at the same time, I could take a moral stance there. So you just have to pick those battles wisely, and you have to be satisfied with the reflection in the mirror on how you make those particular stands. If Scott Kirby were to do something XYZ that really turned me off, would I stop using United? 100%. 100%. Hypothetically, if he was like, I don't want Black people on our airplanes, then yeah, I'm not flying on his airplanes. I'm using that as a hypothetical. Of course, he did not say that, so no one forward this to him, please. But I'm just using that as an example. If he did something of that nature, yeah. Chick-fil-A came out and said what they wanted to say, and they were like, we're standing by it. I was like, cool, then I don't need to support that. So it's just you have to choose your line wisely. And then the last point that I'll make is back to RJ. Sometimes it's not as easy as just walking away. We all remember how many different Target boycotts. And let's just honestly be real. I think there's supposed to be an Amazon boycott right now. Order something and it's not there by tomorrow, and you're going to be like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. I'm not paying $6.95 for shipping. I can order this on Amazon. Some are just too big to fail. Some are just too big to walk away from, where you need to be accountable for the line itself and where you're willing to allow it to cross. And I'm just using Amazon right now. I don't know what's happening, but I ordered something on Amazon yesterday. So apparently they haven't said or anything that made me want to cross that line. I'm pretty sure they're doing stuff I don't agree with, but I can't be mad at what I don't know. I can say that at least. until I find out about it, at least. So yeah, you just got to take it at a one-by-one basis, Matt, on how you handle it. In some cases, it's extreme. In other cases, it might be a different point of view. But when you're sitting on 1 million Hilton points and you want to boycott Hilton, you ain't walking away from them points. You're going to at least burn the 1 million. Then you'll say, I'm not going to stay at a Hilton anymore. And that's what going back to RJ's point. If Scott Kirby burned me today, I'm going to burn my United miles and then I'll walk away. But I'm going to burn them United miles first. Is what I'm saying.
So in 3 years, Lonnie will be walking away.
Lonnie could burn 1 million United miles in just like a day if he really wanted to.
Anyway, great question. I'm trying to ride the line as much as I can, but great question.
No, I think we've all ridden the line as well as we can, given the prompt. And again, I'm not going to be foolhardy and say there are plenty of angelic options versus not. Like every company is going to have its own issues. Marriott let a brand just explode overnight and didn't throw a lifeline to any of their customers. That was messed up when the Saunders situation broke. I'm sure Hyatt has contracts that I would find disagreeable. I'm sure IHG has contracts that I would find disagreeable. I'm sure it's not just Unite. I'm sure it's not just Enterprise. We saw Avelo Airlines was losing a ton of business once people found out that like Avelo was one of 3 deportation expresses. They have since cut that contract, and I'm sure they're going to lose a ton of money on it. But like they've made choices that folks made decisions about. And I don't mean to harp on current events with that, but there are no good guys, obviously. Like when it comes to the banks, Chase has its black eyes. Wells Fargo has the thing that everybody remembers Wells Fargo for doing, except Bank of America did the exact same thing. I'm sure Bank of America has its own warts within its history. Citi didn't let Haiti get out of its debt for the longest time. HSBC was founded basically HSBC was basically founded to fund the opium wars. Lloyd's has had its problems. Deutsche Bank, you want to talk about a company that has had significant issues. Deutsche Bank.
Don't forget Wells Fargo did all that money laundering.
Wells Fargo's also done some money cleaning that it probably shouldn't have done, obviously. And I didn't even touch Credit Suisse. Like, everybody has their issues, for sure. There's no ethical consumerism in capitalism, which is a pain, but it's the system we got. And trying to navigate it, I'm not trying to be blind to that, obviously, but trying to navigate it is a real pain in the ass. So with that, Lonnie, take us away with your topic so we can end on a higher note than this.
I'm supposed to follow that.
You are a magician, sir. I am sure you can.
Anyway, it's the top of the year. At the top of the year, there is one card that always comes up as keeper cancel. Without fail, it's keeper cancel. It's the Amex Gold card. So, have the videos already started, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your over under on keeper cancel with the Amex Gold for, we're going to say, these first 90 days, this Q1 of 2026? And has the gold card lost its value? Has it been superseded by any other card? There's so many other cards that are coming out hard with grocery is what I'm saying. And who knows what Built's about to do, announce coming up in the next day or two. Has a gold card been superseded, Matt? What's the over under on your keeper cancel? Are people going to keep it or are people going to cancel it?
Over under, I know for certain that one video has already come out and that creator said they were keeping it. Do people actually hold the Amex Gold anymore? I thought everybody was doing the upgrade downgrade cycle with between the platinum, the gold, and the green. And
I don't want to lose my white gold, so I'm not doing upgrade downgrade.
running that train. Okay, so nobody's running that train. Got it. I think the keep or cancel from the folks who have kept the card so far, I think most folks who have the card are going to keep the card, and most creators who have the card are going to keep the card. I think there's a good amount of people for whom, you know, if you're doing family grocery spend, like my co-hosts, you put enough through that card to make it worthwhile to keep the card. I think if you're an individual creator, I think if you're somebody who ran out and grabbed a welcome offer as quickly as was growing out and grabbing a welcome offer, I think they're more inclined to eventually remove the card. So like, I think there's a subset of creators. Over, under, I would take the over on 4 videos stating that they'll keep it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's videos explaining, oh no, I chose not to keep the card. I chose to keep the card, but I'm going to downgrade the card in hopes of getting an upgrade offer, because they're going to continue. We're going to continue to see the train on upgrade downgrade
I
play
would
out.
consider that still as keep. If you're going to downgrade,
Okay.
upgrade, that's still keep in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're going to see +4 on that one.
RJ, where are you at?
I don't think that the American Express Gold is any better or worse than it was before the refresh. I think it's different than it was before the refresh. It does. But I think that if it was a card that benefited you before, it still probably benefits you. Unless you're somebody who is putting Craig level of spend through the card where you need to have 2 of them, then I think you're probably in a similar position with the card. Now, if you don't do resi or drink coffee or do anything else, then that's just probably just not a card for you anyway. But I think the gold card is as good or bad for you as it was 3 years ago. So I just looked up, there's 9 videos from creators that I could pick out of a lineup that have already talked about the card. I don't blame them. It's a popular card. Everybody wants to talk about it.
Grab those views, get that algorithm.
Yeah, I don't blame them at all. I think that the gold card is a great card for families, like we have said. I had the card. I liked it. I don't do the grocery shopping in my house. So for me, it was like, I could get 3x on my green or 4x on my business gold, like for restaurants. Why do I have the grocery card? I don't go to the grocery store. So there was that. But I think it's a good card. I do. I think for most people, especially if you are the grocery shopper in your family, it's probably worth it. If you like Amex. Underwhelming, but honest.
Craig?
To my co-host's point, it's a popular card. I know that talking about it will get clicks. I get it. Not going to fault anybody for it. I think if there is anyone to ever be a post, and this is not me tooting my own horn, if there's ever anybody to be a poster child for the gold card, it is me. I thought I could get rid of it, guys. I really did. I really thought that I could replace the Amex Gold card with the City Strata Premier or with the Capital One Saver. Unfortunately, those credit limits aren't high enough for my monthly spend, split between dining and groceries. I have a $3,000 limit.
Not even your yearly spend.
Yeah, monthly. I've put in perspective, since December, I have cycled nearly 2 limits on my City Strata Premier trying to make it work as my primary grocery card. Now, granted, December we spent more than what we would normally spend because we bought some. We bought some additional stuff. We took 2 prime ribs down to Costa Rica with us because, again, my wife's grandmother is a human on the planet and refused to not have prime rib on Christmas. So we brought 16 pounds of meat on an airplane. Yep. Let that one sink in for a second. Did she help kick in for that prime rib? Nope. Is she the wealthiest person in that house? Yep. is she also the one person that I think might actually be a clinical narcissist that I've ever met in my entire life? Yes. But put in perspective, prime rib is like $12 a pound, guys. It's wildly expensive. And it's meat. I think it's meh.
Okay, my
I
mom's
get
prime rib is amazing, so I will hear no prime rib slander.
no, hear me out. The way that my mother-in-law prepared it, sensational. Really was good. And the sandwiches the next day, awe-inspiring. But I don't know, right? Going out to a restaurant and eating prime rib, cool beans. Having to wait for you to make this in the house, doesn't have quite the same pizzazz. But yeah, like my limit on the Amex Gold card, I know no matter the only issue I have with the Amex Gold card is my annual limit, right? Like spending that 25K, I'm likely going to be done with that probably June-ish, maybe late May, depending on if we make barbecues or if we do like parties or whatnot. Lonnie looks so disgusted. He's like, "How? Why?
Because you ordering the left and the right side of an A5 Wagyu and having it imported on your gold card. That's why.
No, you know what? I actually bought a whole side of beef. So my butcher counts as groceries. That roughly 300 pounds of meat is going to last about 5 months.
300 pounds. You know what? We ain't got time for this today. Keep going.
I apologize. But so, yeah, there are just other items that don't work for me because Capital One is also stingy with limits. So the gold card is unfortunately a never cancel card for me because I make my annual fee up purely off spend. Everything, all the credits are just gravy on top for me, and they're easy. Like I burn my credits for my Amex Gold card. Dunkin', $7, it's done first day. Uber Eats, done. And there's a Five Guys that I go to once a month, and that is my cheat day when I go from the gym. Yeah, I do love a Five Guys burger. Just saying, it's delicious.
You people in your bread.
You can get an unwich.
Yes, and I do. Often. But you people in your bread.
I gotta admit though, the crunch of the lettuce, while it's still crispy, is pretty delicious. Versus
Right.
bread.
Speaking of just other lettuce wrap things, I went to PF Chang's for the first time last month. Lettuce wrap chicken whatever appetizer.
Yep.
Delicious.
Crack, ain't it?
Right?
That sauce.
I was like, oh, this is amazing. And my wife goes, how have we been together like 13 years and you've never been to PF Chang's? And I was like, you tell me.
Those lettuce wraps at PF Chang's, sometimes it's one of those things where you can just go in and order that. It's nothing else. Like
it's
chips
big.
and salsa, like the chips and salsa at Chili's. You don't need anything else on the menu. Just give me the chips and salsa.
Oh man, it's been so long since I've been to a Chili's.
Sir.
What?
You're not missing much.
You're missing that chips.
No,
and
do you know
salsa.
the last time I went to a Chili's? They had those unlimited like alcoholic boba drinks in college, and we really did take advantage of unlimited. Ended up coming out with like half drinks, and we was like, all right, it's probably time for us to go.
Yeah, when they're giving you the half drinks, yeah, they're telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's me. I've already seen 3 or 4. I say we see about another 5 or 6. But I'm true to this, not new to this. Amex Gold is going nowhere for me.
And has the card been superseded by others? Not yet.
If Chase comes out with a $50,000 4X limit on groceries, I'm here for it.
Nobody's gonna hit 50,000 for their limit. They're just not.
No, Chase is going to be so petty. They're going to be like 26,000.
Man,
Craig, we got an extra.
I don't even look at $25,000. I'm pretty sure I don't even come close to it. I actually went to the grocery store this week and it cost me $99. It's the first time I've been to the grocery store for sub $100, and I basically skipped to my car in the parking lot. I was so happy.
Dog, we got a fruit budget just for people eating berries and apples in the house.
Meanwhile, my partner spent $99 at Dollar General. She was like, I got all the shopping done for the next week and a half. But it was $99 Dollar General. I was like, okay. It's only 3X though on that Hilton Surpass.
Is Dollar General not considered a grocery store?
Absolutely not.
Is that like a you thing?
Nope.
You got to think. I live in the one smaller city outside of Indianapolis. The Dollar Generals around here code as grocery stores because that is the only grocery store for most people within 20-mile limit. Sorry, I'm going to be quiet now. Food deserts, they're fun.
The food deserts suck. Yet another joyous thing in this lovely place called capitalism. All right, so it posted, and it's coding. Nope, only 3X. All right. Anyway, any final thoughts before we wrap?
Got nothing else.
All right. Thanks, Ragrex, for sticking around for most of the stream. If you want to be like Ragrex and as one of our diamond members, you can join Stack Your Points membership at stackyourpoints.com. We do have a number of diamond members. We have no new members at other tiers. We do have 3 tiers of membership. Our diamond members are Rupert Pond, Brandon Hirsch, Ragrex Hunter. Thank you, Ragrex. Mitch 528, Keith, Global Animal Fries, and Jason YT46. StackYourPoints.com. You can join the Discord. You can join our membership. Check out our individual channels as well. But that's going to do it for this week. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you guys next week.